Occam's razor?
Occam's razor. Essentially, the general principle is explain the most with as few explanations as you absolutely possibly can manage. Generally, the goal of science is to find the simplest and often the most fundamentally elegant solution to explain what we observe in the universe. And that's the general idea behind Occam's razor.
So what are we doing today?
Why am I here?
Yes, well...
Why have you brought us to the couch?
I have summoned you...
To the library.
I have summoned you to the couch in the library in order to use Occam's razor. To put it to the
You're not
test.
shaving my head, right?
No. That is not the simplest solution.
I agree.
The homework I assigned the two of you before when we came up with this video idea was to pick a topic that we could apply Occam's razor to. Typically a topic that we generally understand does not actually exist. So that's what our goal is today, to apply it to every single one of these.
Yes. I brought Sir Frederick, otherwise known as a unicorn. It's very sweet, very good. Mr. Frederick can also stand in as, general cryptids.
Excellent.
The Bigfoots, the Yetis, the Mothman.
What about the narwhals?
Narwhals are real.
Narwhals are very real.
I was thinking about the universe as a simulation, because everybody talks about it.
Very
The
true.
Matrix.
Whoa!
We're going to go ahead and start with my topic, which is UFOs, post-production, yay. It's a general idea that there are unidentified flying objects that visit Earth that are presumably alien. First, you have enormous timescales you have to worry about, and enormous scales of space. Millions of light years, billions of years. Chances are someone intelligent could have existed somewhere in the universe, but the universe is unfathomably huge. And
getting bigger.
And getting bigger, and there's a nearly unfathomable amount of time since the beginning of the universe itself. So, while chances are there have been or there could be other civilizations out there, the odds of us ever meeting them are, pardon the pun, astronomically slim. There's also a scale of technology. If you've got the technology to, cross crazy amounts of space in a livable timescale to visit little old planet Earth here with us crazy humans on board, why would you visit to randomly probe people or abduct livestock or just
to conduct scientific investigations, Grant?
Sometimes you have to steal a few people.
Or cows.
Or cows.
To
figure out what's going on.
I think the point stands to a certain extent. If you were going to travel millions of light years to be here, why even put yourself at risk of exposing yourself and your own existence to this, let's face it, fairly primitive species on a little mud ball of a planet in the middle of nowhere? What is the simplest explanation for all of these weird lights that people see, or these experiences people have of alien abductions? And there are a lot of explanations, although there are always going to be people who are willing to argue against them. The weird balls of light, sometimes those are airships. Hot air balloons or blimps or something flying around at night, they are generally fairly quiet. They generally move fairly slowly, and they can turn on a dime.
And people forget that they exist.
Because
who's seen a blimp recently?
Not the dominant form of air travel.
Yes.
As much as
But you can also turn it around the other way. I mean, all these weird lights in the sky, they happen so frequently. Why couldn't it be aliens? That, in a way, could be the simplest solution.
Is it that frequent, though?
I mean, do you know how many times I see weird lights in the sky? Or things I can't explain happening? Mm-hmm. It's all the time.
There's no way to possibly know who's flying when or what if you're the average person. You don't know who's flying a drone near you. You don't know what flights are overhead.
Yeah. Was it Chris who was saying the other day? He's heard people questioning what Venus is, thinking that it's a UFO, when in fact, it's a planet.
There are usually explanations for them. It just takes a little bit of homework, a little bit of research to dig them out and find out what they are. And there are people, there are departments that actually do this.
I think the name of the department you're thinking of is the X-Files.
Do you think I'm spooky?
I was going to say the Men in Black. Just you wait, Will Smith is waiting to bang down on your door.
Sorry.
here's a way to kind of take Occam's razor to and throw it out the window to an extent. If aliens had the technology to get here, they certainly would have the technological capability to conceal themselves from us. It's why, chances are, there aren't aliens among us, because that just adds variables to the problem. The simplest explanation for UFOs is that they are fundamentally things we can explain. Whether they are an actual aircraft, or a weather balloon, or a trick of the light, or some other freak natural phenomena, the easiest and simplest explanation for a UFO is that a UFO is not an alien. It's something very down to earth. So now let's move on to our second topic, which, Ramy, I think that's yours.
That's me! So my topic was, the universe is a simulation. From the Matrix to random people commenting on YouTube videos, we've all heard about this. Whatever weird thing is going on the Earth, it's a simulation. It's a glitch in the system.
There's a whole subreddit dedicated to Glitch in the Matrix.
Oh, really?
Oh, you didn't know this?
I did not know this. I
oh
did
my
not
gosh,
do my homework
yeah.
very well.
It's allegedly it's all true.
Of course it is. Because if we apply Occam's razor, the simplest solution is the one with the fewest assumptions. You only have to make one with the universe as a simulation. Everything's a simulation. I mean, honestly, it's very similar to aliens and how people kind of use it as a band-aid solution to everything. If anything goes wrong, it's probably aliens, right? Because it's such an omnipresent thing. You can just slap it on anything and boom, there's your answer. And honestly, Occam's razor, that's where we can kind of see it falls apart a little bit, because in a way that would be the simplest solution. As if this is all just simulated. At its core, Occam's razor is just abductive reasoning. It's not saying what is empirically true, you still need to look at other factors. Even if this is just one element of it, there are other things we need to consider as well. Such as, that's one pretty big assumption you're making.
You have to assume a lot of things about, like smaller pieces of that.
That's a good point.
Like,
You know,
okay, if it's a simulation, someone had to make it, and then there's all that stuff. Also, even if you use the Matrix as, like, you're kind of like, well, in the Matrix, they, like, you know, the simulation works because of this and that. Well, in the Matrix, people also find out that it's a simulation.
There was a viral video at one point that they tested of monks throwing a needle through glass and leaving just this perfect little hole.
they got the code.
But when they tested it, he shattered a needle and then he shattered the glass. He never got a needle to go right through it. Wouldn't a simpler answer for some of these abilities that could be attributed to a simulation and people seeing through the simulation be either apocryphal or having reality bent in a much more mundane way? If it's a simulation, where are my damn console codes? I want to cheat, damn it. Where's my console?
It doesn't work that way. Ultimately, it's precisely what you said with aliens. People want a simpler or more interesting solution. And not just that, but one they can just apply to everything.
Yeah.
So they're drawn to these kinds of theories.
Yeah.
It's also the kind of theory that, like, you can't really ever prove, right? One way or
Very
the
good
other.
point.
Yeah.
Because if we do live in a simulation, unless we find Neo,
Or unless there's a secret temple somewhere with a giant computer like Deep Thought from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, where you could enter in the codes for the universe. Yeah, there's no real way to prove or disprove it unless you can get outside the universe to look back in on it. I think part of the attraction is that we want the world to not be mundane, because mundane is what we know, and mundane can be very boring. Mundane is the day-to-day of life. I think it's only human that we look for something more.
But I think the wonderful thing is if we look at these examples, we see complexity way beyond what these solutions are. Like, looking into those alien reports, like, how long would it actually take, man-hours-wise, to actually find the real reason for it? Have you guys heard of these things? I just found out about this recently. About these things called dancing plagues. There were plagues that went through all of medieval Europe, and people just being uncontrollably able to dance. I mean, that's crazy!
it is. Yeah.
Quite literally in some
Let's get to
cases.
Life can be mundane sometimes.
Until with science, we're able to go in and look at the complexities and kind of relish in it.
So, cryptids in general is the topic that I wanted to bring, because I love cryptids. everyone's heard of some sort of cryptid, whether it is unicorns like Sir Frederick, or Bigfoot, or the Yeti, or the Loch Ness Monster, or the Mothman. There's so many. Some sort of mythical creature, basically, right? That's kind of the consensus. Something is weird about this creature. Usually it's like super rare and obviously super hard to find. And there's a lot of shows where people go looking for Bigfoot and they go searching for the Yeti. And I haven't seen a show actually where they look for unicorns, but that would be pretty funny too.
We'll make it.
While they are super fun and great to write little fantasy stories about.
Which no one here has ever done.
No, definitely not. If you apply Occam's razor to the idea, do these mythical creatures that a handful of people have ever claimed to see, that we have no evidence of, no fossil record of,
Pictures.
no pictures, really.
No high definition pictures.
No good pictures. I mean, do we want to roll the Bigfoot film? We can roll the Bigfoot film. If that's the best footage we have of Bigfoot, we don't really have footage of Bigfoot, I would say. If you apply Occam's razor, cryptids don't exist. But a lot of people still believe in cryptids. The argument for cryptids tends to be, well, we are still discovering new species of animals. What's so crazy about thinking that there are species that we haven't been able to identify and tag, and that it is Bigfoot or a Yeti or a sea monster, right? But then you apply Occam's razor. It's, a solid argument. We are finding new species all the time, which is really exciting. But I don't know if you've heard about how big Bigfoot's supposed to be. Because a lot of the species that we're finding are very, very, very small.
It's hard for something large to be kept a secret.
These new species that are being discovered are kind of branches off of species we know about already. We know that frogs exist. Mm-hmm. These are just different kinds of frogs. Bigfoot is
but
bigger and hairier?
A bear walking on two legs?
That's actually a really fantastic point. They're not very well defined. They're maybe not intentionally, but they're very vague, so you can fit them into almost anything.
Yeah.
You can easily do that with the chupacabra. It's a canine-like creature that, feeds exclusively on the blood of livestock or your family. You apply Occam's razor to this thing, and you go by the description, kind of canine in appearance, long snout, canine teeth, 4 legs, bare skin, it's got a tail. It starts to really sound, sadly, like a coyote with mange.
Yeah.
While it's certainly cool and certainly creepy to imagine that there are chupacabras out there that only drink blood, a coyote with mange makes so much more sense.
Coyote with mange is also scary.
Yes.
So if you're trying to tell a scary story, coyote with mange will do it too.
Yes.
No need to invent.
It makes a lot of sense that this initial image of coyote with mange turned into this mythical, even more horrifying creature.
They're immortal.
You say they're immoral?
They're immortal.
Oh, immortal.
Immortal.
They're so immoral.
I cannot stand for the ethics of these chupacabras.
They are the devil's puppies.
Also, if you've ever seen something called The Bestiary, but it was a book that was essentially it had a bunch of different species of animals, and it would talk about the different species of animals, and it would be accompanied with illustrations. While they're beautiful, I wouldn't say that illustrations are very accurate. So looking at something like that, it's very easy to misconstrue things. And also, it's very easy to misunderstand when people are talking about mythological things and real things.
To an extent, you could also draw a parallel to how we, over the last few decades, have depicted, say, extinct creatures like dinosaurs.
Jurassic Park with the raptors, they just completely falsified what an actual velociraptor looks like.
Yeah. Also, for the record, a unicorn is really quite... if we're going to apply Occam's razor to a unicorn, you can stick something on a horse's head pretty easy. Cryptids, while cool, when you apply Occam's razor. But that's okay, because you can't get a little plushy version. They sound like plushy
almost as
Mothmans. Great.
So, all of that madness was Occam's razor. This is the first of, we hope, several videos like this where we're going to have a bunch of us together talking about different subjects. Not necessarily with Occam's razor.
So if you have any suggestions of things that we can discuss in this way, let us know.
Let us know.
Comment down below. Say goodbye to Sir Frederick.
Bye, Sir Frederick.
Bye, Sir Frederick.
He's so cute.
He's so fat.